that very time I saw, but thou couldst not, flying between the cold moon and the earth, Cupid all armed a certain aim he took at a fair vestal thrown by the west, and loosed his love shaft smartly from his bow, as it should pierce 100,000 hearts. But I might see young Cupid's fiery shaft quenching the chaste beams of the watery moon, and the imperial votaress passed on, a maiden meditation, fancy-free. Yet marked I where the bolt of Cupid fell. It fell upon a little western flower, before milk white, now purple with love's wound, and maidens call it love and idleness. Fetch me that flower! The herb I shoot thee once, the juice of it on sleeping eyelids laid, will make a man or woman madly dote upon the next lived creature that it sees. Fetch me this urn, and be thou here again, ere the Leviathan can swim a league.
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is my gourd rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now? Your gumballs? Your songs? Your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning. Quite chapfallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that.
Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, breathe candle! Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more. Or close the wall up with our English dead. In peace there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger, stiffen the sinless, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage, then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let pry through the portage of the head, like the brass cannon, let the brow o'erwhelm it, as fearfully as doth a galled rock. Your Anganchetti is confounded base, swilled with the wild and wasteful ocean. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide. Hold hard the breath and bend up every spirit to his full height. On, you noblest English, whose blood is fed from fathers of war-proof. Fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from morn till even fought, and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers did beget you. Be copied out to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good yeoman, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the mettle of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, for there is none of you so mean and base, that hath not noble luster in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge, cry God for Harry, England, and St. George.
Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous-looking glass, I, that am rudely stamped, and want love's majesty, to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I hold by them. Why, I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun, and descant on mine own deformity, and therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, these farewell spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate away. other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy which says that of Edward's heirs the murderer shall be. Dive thoughts down to my soul here. Clarence comes.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man. So are they all honorable men. Come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious. And Brutus is an honorable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome. Whose ransoms did the general coffers fill? Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious. And Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal. I thrice presented him a Keeley crown, which he did thrice refuse was this ambition. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious. And, sure, he is an honorable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke. But here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me.
Blow, winds, and crack your cheeks, enrage and blow, you cataracts and hurricanes, spout, till you have drenched our steeples, drowned the cocks, you sulphur house and thought executing fires, von couriers to old cleaving thunderbolts, singe my white head when thou, oh shaking thunder, smite flood the thick rotundity of the world, crack nature's molds, old Germans spill at once, that making grateful man.
This simulation is not as the former, and yet, to crush this a little, it would bow to me. For every one of these letters are in my name. Soft! Here follows prose. If this fall into thy hand, revolve. In my stars I am above thee. But be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. My fate's open. Their hands, let thy blood and spirit embrace them. And turn your thyself to what thou art like to be. Cast the humble slough and appear fresh. Be opposite with a kinsman, silly with servants. Let my tantang arguments of state put thyself into. The trick of singularity she thus advises thee, that sighs for thee. Remember who commended thy yellow stockings, and wish to see thee ever. Cross-guarded, I say. Remember, go to, thou art made, if thou desirest to be so. If not, let me see thee a steward still, the fellow of servants, and not worthy to touch fortune's fingers. Farewell, should that would alter services with thee. The fortunate unhappy, and I terrain. Daylight and champagne discovers not more this is. Open! I will be proud. I will read politic authors. I will baffle Sir Toby. I will wash off gross acquaintance. I will be poor and devise the very man. I do not now fool myself to let imagination jade me, for every reason excites to this, that my lady loves me. She did commend my yellow stockings of late. She did praise my late being cross-guarded, and in this she manifests herself to my love, and with a kind of injunction drives me to these habits. I don't like it. I thank my stars I am happy. I will be strange, stout in yellow stockings, and cross-guarded, even with the swiftness of potting. On! Jove and my stars be praised! Here is yet a postscript. Thou canst not choose but know who I am. If thou entertainest my love, let it appear in the smiling. The smiles become thee well. Therefore in my presence still smile, dear my sweet. I prithee in thy terrain. Jove, I thank thee I will smile. I will do everything that thou wilt of me.